Flipside by Bedhead. Chapter 1. Princess Celestia stood on a balcony overlooking the Canterlot Palace. The white alicorn's rosy eyes were locked on a shining orb sinking near the horizon. The silver surface of the moon was beautiful as ever, even considering that half of it was marred by a dark stain shaped like a mare's head. The royal equine's nearly phantasmal mane was calm for once, rather than drifting in its own personal windstorm. Dawn was coming. The sun was about to rise soon, but Celestia wanted to gaze upon the moon for just a moment longer. "Is it too much to hope you've changed?" she asked the heavenly body. "After nearly 1,000 years, I like to think so. That maybe we could settle this peacefully." The eye of the mare in the moon seemed to spark, an almost imperceptible but unquestionably malicious light. Celestia bowed her head, her horn shimmering gold as the moon slowly sank beneath the horizon. "It will be good to see you again, sister," she said, tears in her eyes. The moon vanished behind the mountains, the sun rising to light the sky in its place. One day until the summer sun celebration. One last day of sunlight, peace, and safety for her little ponies. Celestia looked down upon the city of Canterlot as its citizens began to stir and begin their days. She turned back to her own chambers, making her way to various personal effects. The bed, dresser, fancy, none of them ever mattered to her before, and they certainly didn't to her now. All she could do was try and pretend nothing was wrong, give her ponies another day of happiness. Down in the city, the sunlight stretched for the windows of one of the housing complexes. A purple unicorn stallion grunted as he squeezed his eyelids tight, turning away from the light and pulling the covers over his head. "Prose!" A voice tried to intrude on the young stallion's sleep. The unicorn groaned, stubbornly shoving his pillow over his green maned head. "Purple Prose, you wake up this instant!" the nagging female voice chastised. His horn sparked with green magic, reaching out and grabbing hold of the window shade. With a sharp tug, the rising sunlight's path through the window was cut off by a barrier of beige fabric. His hose tugged harder on the pillow, trying to keep out the sounds of claws stomping across the wooden floor. "Spike!" the voice yelled, as his blanket was yanked from his body. That got his attention. The unicorn uncovered his head and sat up to glare at the nasty perpetrator of Grand Theft blanket. Unfortunately, he had already made it to the window, and had the shade's drawstring in one clawed hand. Before he could protest, the shade rolled back up, dazzling the morning sunlight which struck his green eyes. "Gah!" he shouted, trying to block the sun with one hoof without falling backwards from shock. He failed spectacularly, and tumbled from his bed, landing with a thunk on the wooden floor. All right, I'm up, Twilight," the pony grumbled, as he rolled back onto his hose. The purple-scaled dragoness near the window plodded over, a smug smile on her chubby face. Her stubby arms were crossed over the paler lavender scales of her chest, and stomach and the deep violet spines of her head bobbed lightly as she tapped one foot. Spike groaned as he turned away from the impatient reptile, and looked longingly toward the kitchen area of their apartment. The coffee machine sat there, and at that moment, the only thought occupying his sleep-deprived brain was a desire for caffeine. He yawned and started his quill-marked flank towards the invention, the padding of claws on the floor signaling his roommate was following him. "Come on, Spike! Don't you remember what today is?" she asked, sounding some mix between annoyed and frantic. "Twi, what have I told you about my name?" the stallion responded, as his magic began unloading the coffee machine. A frustrated sigh, followed by the splashing of the sink turning on. The dragoness brought a full pot of water, with Spike's magic lifted from her claws. "Fine! Purple Prose! As excited as you were about it last night, I can't believe you forgot," she went on. The gear and Spike, Purple Prose, Flail's head, was trying to turn at the assistants, distracted by the somewhat bubbling of the water in the coffee machine. He felt her claws as she clambered onto his back, feet scuffling at his feathered quill cutie mark as he tapped the back of his head. "I'll give you a hint. Forest Strider's retirement," Twilight offered. Suddenly, everything clicked. In an excited rush, the pony found himself more wide awake than he drank a whole pot of coffee. His short, spiky tail waved back and forth, looking almost disturbingly like his medieval weapon namesake. The promotion to international reporter! Oh my gosh! How could I forget? He asked, suddenly racing back to his bedroom. Green Magic raced over it several times and lifted into the air. His saddlebags were quickly loaded with spare notepads, ink, and quills. A reporter's hat, complete with press release and his favorite white quill, whirled through the air and landed on his head. His horn sparked a little, tilting the chapeau into a raucous angle with a grin. Looking good, Prose. Looking real good. He congratulated himself, a giggle coming from his back. Look out, Equestria! Here comes your #1 new roaming reporter! Are you done preening? Twilight asked, as he tried to flatten out the uncovered portions of his mane. Come on, Twilight! Starting today, we're going to be traveling the world! Spike guessed, faces anxiously as his saddlebags floated towards his back. Exciting new places and ponies, all sorts of adventure. You've read the stories that Far Strider comes back with. All the more reason to get to the office early, Twilight pointed out. She hopped down and let Spike on the bags. A rumble sounded from both their stomachs, Spike chuckling a bit, as he heard the steady drip of the coffee pot filling as well. We should probably take care of breakfast first, he admitted. The Canterlot Sun was, without a doubt, the single most recognized newspaper in Equestria. Most young journalists would give both their left hooves for a chance to write for it, a fact that gave Spike a certain amount of job satisfaction every time he walked into the office. Other ponies were already bustling about, many a cup of coffee floating in a sheath of colored magic. Spike ducked around a passing mail trolley with practiced ease, Twilight still clinging to his back as he headed for his desk. A huge grin crossed his face as he noticed a gray earth pony also heading there. Morning, Inkblock! Spike greeted tearfully. How's my favorite editor-in-chief today? The pony spun around, a few strands of his black mane falling over his face. A huge smile crossed his vapors as he saw the purple unicorn. Double P, Twilight, I was hoping you'd be in early. The editor grinned. You don't say, Spike responded, flashing a wink and a proud smile to Twilight. This wouldn't happen to have something to do with Far Strider, would it? Twilight asked, hopping for Spike's back. Server's a horseshoe nail, Twi, Inkbot responded, as he passed her a sealed envelope. She didn't get to be my personal assistant for nothing, Spike pointed out, as he peeked over the dragon's shoulder. Twilight sifted over the envelope with one claw, pulling out a pair of train tickets. Spike bit down on his lip in excitement, a shiver running down his green mane. Yep, with Major Scoop moving out to Far Strider's old position, I need a new pony to handle social events like this, Inkblot said as he started to walk away. Spike's tail went limp behind him. Twilight had the tickets in one claw, and was reading the letter inside as he rushed over to her boss's side. Hang on! You're giving the international position to Major Scoop? He said, trying to keep his voice low. Sorry, Prose. I know you've been eyeing the job for a while, but... For a while? Spike gasped. I got my cutie mark in investigative journalism! Prose, you got that mark taking down some stuck-up cheater and magic kindergarten. Inkbot responded, rolling his eyes. It was second grade! Spike muttered, his own gaze casting aside. Back to my point. You never even reported on anything outside of Canterlot before, the editor said, putting a hoof on Spike's shoulder. I can't put some pony out with no experience out there. The purple unicorn bit inside his lip, frustration boiling away inside. His boss gave him a pat on the shoulder and a smile. Which is why you're getting Major's old assignment, Inkbot explained, giving Spike a gentle shake. Get you some experience out there, all right? Spike locked his eyes with Boss, found it hard to resist the urge to grit his teeth in front of him. The unicorn took a deep breath before lowering his head again. As good as it would feel to vent, getting fired for causing a scene didn't seem worth it. You've got it, sir, Spike sighed as his boss walked away. Twilight was still seated at the desk, eyes wide as she looked over their assignment. Spike just slumped down next to her, watching ink seal himself up in his private office. But, Prose, Twilight started. I can't believe he just gave the persistent to Scoop like that. The unicorn fumed. You don't even... She tried to interrupt. I'm better than this some stupid golem column, and he doesn't even... He was cut short by a rolled up paper bumping over the nose. Boop! You don't even know what the assignment is yet, Twilight scolded, unrolling the paper. Just wait until you hear this. Prose, first off, I know we're all sorry to see Far Strider retire. Far be it for me to deny a pony when he says he wants to enjoy some time while he still has a something. Major Scoop is getting a new international position,
and we'll probably already have left for the southern borders by the time you get in. Of course, that leaves the paper down a social report. And seeing as you've been trying to get into traveling stories, this is your big opportunity. As you know, Scoop covered all sorts of diplomatic parties and celebrations, everywhere from Las Pegasus to Stalingrad. It'll be just the sort of experience you need, so here's your chance to get your hopes wet. The 1000th Southern Sun celebration is coming up, and this year it's being held in Ponyville. I need you and Twilight down there covering every last detail. Preparations, the food, decorations, the plays, everything. I know you had your heart set on Farsighter's old job, but you gotta learn to trot before you get going, right? Handle this, and we'll see what you can do about working with you to the other side. Ain't what?
Spike wadded up the letter in magic and tossed it at the window. It bounced off, having no effect on the speeding landscape beyond the train car he now sat in. Twilight scooped up the message and carefully unfolded it. Maybe he has a point, Spike, she said firmly. Neither of us have even left Canterlot before. Starting small might be better.
Can't be much smaller than this, Spike grumbled,
face pressing against the cool glass. Come on, mister. It's the 1000th Summer Sun celebration, Twilight said, hopping up next to him and sweeping one arm. This is going to be the biggest festival in all of Equestria.
And it's in Ponyville, Spike pointed out. Twilight, we can see that place from our home on a clear day.
The dragon rolled her eyes and sat down with a humph. Fine, be that way, she said. We still got a job to do, whether or not it's the one you wanted.
I know,
her companion sighed, pulling his hat over his eyes.
Just wake me up when we get there.
Twilight nodded, pulling a tourist pamphlet from the seat in front of her and beginning to read. Spike, purple clothes Flail, began to breathe deeply as the rocking of the train and rustling of his assistant's pamphlet lulled him to sleep. All the while, Celestia's sun continued to climb into the sky. No pony aware it might be the last time they see it.
Looking forward to it, of course. In all honesty, I can't imagine.
Celestia's attention was flowing in and out of focus. The palace staff was busy tending to the grounds, and numerous of knickknacks as usual. The princess was following one of her many, many schedulers, Sundial, as he went over to his plans for the next day with her. Celestia looked out the window as they were passing by. The sun was getting higher, still late morning. A part of her just wanted to take off into parts unknown and never return, to flee from what she knew was coming.
Your Majesty?
Sundial's voice broke through her thoughts of freedom.
Is everything all right?
Celestia looked at the slate-gray stallion, his magic grasping a thick stack of papers. Other students were also slowing or stopping their duties. She could feel their eyes, curious, worrying, wondering like Sundial she was okay. A smile came to her muzzle, as easy as it always had been for thousands of years. No matter what, seeing what was coming, she couldn't abandon them. Let them see her weaken. I'm sorry, Mr. Dial. I was just admiring the work the gardeners have done. The Sun Princess lied as they continued walking. The stallion moved his papers back to the front of his vision. The sounds of ponies resuming their jobs filled the hall again.
Yes, quite. They're quite talented, the stallion responded. Greenhoof and his crew were quite surprised when he announced where the celebration was being held. A millennial anniversary. We all expected it to be here in Canterlot.
There was a surprise in tone, mixed with a bit of disappointment. Both emotions seemed to vanish, though he saw Celestia shake her head. It was promised that the location would be randomly chosen each year, she stated. So, what was next on the schedule for Ponyville? Sundial gave the princess a surprising look, before shrugging and turning back to his notes. Once more the unicorn was droning on about who Celestia would need to meet with, from where she raised the sun, what cases for the guards, and a million other details she knew wouldn't matter by that time. He passed by another window. Celestia looked out for one last time to admire the work of the gardeners.
Attention, passengers! We are now arriving at Ponyville. I repeat, we're now arriving at Ponyville.
Spike snorted and jerked his way up. Twilight was already scooping up her bags, including the pamphlets he had been reading. He yawned, magic readjusting his hat as the violet dragon helped him with his saddlebags. He could feel the train slowing as it pulled into the station. Morning, sleepyhead! Twilight chuckled as he climbed onto his back. Feeling any better?
A little, I guess,
Spike grumbled, dragging his hose toward the line of disembarking ponies. Cheer, Spot! Twilight cut herself off as the unicorn turned his head to glare at her. Prose? We're covering the biggest celebration in all of Equestria! The dragoness pulled herself up into a standing position. Spike winced at the feeling of her claws on his back. The unicorn rolled his eyes as Twilight cleared her throat. He could sense the incoming lecture. Inkblot wants to use this for training, she declared, adjusting his hat so it stood proudly on his head. Well, I say, you get out there and show him what you're made of. Let's prove that you're the journalist you've been telling him you are. Spike turned his head to look at his assistant. The smile never left her face, and it quickly affected his own. You know what? Spike said as he marched off the train. You're right, Twilight. We're going to write the greatest article ever show. And then, so Inkblot, I can't do this. That's the spirit. Twilight cheered, giving her friend a hug. A sudden blast of cheerful music filled the air. Every pony leaving the train found their eyes drawn to a brightly painted wagon. A marching band's worth of trumpets, flags, and for some reason an oven were sprouted from it, playing an impossibly upbeat tune. From behind the contraption sprang an almost blindingly pink pony, her mane a mass of curls that bounced as she hopped from end of one platform to the other. There was a huge grin on her face as she sang along to the music. Welcome, 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 a fine welcome to you. Spike found himself pulled into an extremely enthusiastic shake before the pink mare bounced along to the next newcomer. It was clear she had rehearsed this, seeing as he never missed a beat in the song. Welcome, 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 I say how do you do? Spike and Twilight gave one another confused looks. The stallion quickly slunk away from the newcomers. There was a relief in seeing he wasn't the only one. At least 3 others were following his example. Others bobbing or stopping their hose along with the music. Yeah, I'd be the one bobbing my hose to the music. Welcome, 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 I say hip, hip, hooray! Maybe I'll skip interviewing that one, though, Spike said to Twilight, as he marched past the strange wagon. Yeah, she agreed, eyes bouncing as they followed the pink mare. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Ponyville today! An impressive display of acrobatics. The singer flipped head over hooves and landed by the wagon. The remainder of her audience began cheering and laughing. Spike tried not to pay attention, focused on putting as much distance between himself and the musical wagon as he could. The loud blare of several noisemakers going off drew his gaze back to the wagon. Spun around just in time to see a massive burst of yellow goop fly out of the smokestack structures in it. Twilight yelped and jumped for Spike's back just in the nick of time. The unicorn was left to get covered by vanilla-scented gunk by himself. Ugh, what is this stuff? He shouted, struggling to wipe the goop from his eyes. He was hardly the only one complaining. Several other ponies were crying out at the shock of being coated in a mysterious substance. A girlish giggle filled the air that, for some reason, felt like it could only belong to the pink mare. Oops, sorry everybody, she apologized. Guess I got the confetti in the oven and the big power of the confetti kids. By mistake. Spike had cleared off his eyes, giving the ooze a tentative lick. It really tasted like uncooked cake batter. Twilight had both claws over her mouth, which were doing a poor job to hide the huge grin crawling across her face. Look out below! A voice suddenly broke in. The shadow fell over Spike for a brief moment. The shadow was soon replaced by a blur of gray that slanted into him. He screamed in surprise as he and his new assailant skirted across the platform, hitting the wall of the stallion's ticket booth. Spike! Twilight shouted, running after him. Well, this is already going well, he grumbled, rubbing his now aching head. Sorry, my bad, the voice that had shouted before groaned. That weird yellow goo got in my eyes. Are you okay? A gray Pegasus mare shook her head as she sat up. A few blobs of cake batter scattered from her eyes, and her blonde mane as she did. Spike drew back as the mare opened her eyes. They were bright yellow. One of them focused directly on him. The other drifted, looking to the right. I'm fine. Are you? He asked, suddenly worried as he reached to hoof towards the stranger. Your eyes are all... Oh! The Pegasus blushed and turned away. No, it's all right, dear. You're always like this. Insert open mouth. Insert hoof. Spike's hoof immediately moved to cover his mouth instead. So fast it was a wonder he didn't chip a tooth. Gray Mare giggled as she got back to her host and straightened out her feathers. The cloud of bubbles on her flank was soon covered by her wings as she helped the unicorn back up. It's okay, you didn't know, she said, before a huge grin came on her face. Oh, what's the excuse for you around here? The cake-covered stallion found himself pulled into an enthusiastic shake. Twilight ducked, barely avoiding several splatterings of batter that flew from her friend's legs.
It's great to meet you, the gray mare exclaimed, as he failed to notice the mess he was making. My name is dzetaWMDunion.
I'm a Prose! Spike managed to return the greeting, always wavering a bit with the excessive shaking.
And I'm Twilight.
The lavender dragon spoke up, tapping Dizzy on the shoulder.
We're reporters for Canterlot Sun.
Spike heaved a sigh of relief as Dizzy released his hoof.
Reporters?
She asked, her eyes giving a strange feeling. She was looking at both of them at once.
Yep,
Twilight confirmed.
We're here to cover the Summer Sun celebration. Oh, cool,
Dizzy cheered, her face lighting up. Of course, Spike was starting to get the feeling Dizzy was easily excited short. Gordon's horn lit up, surrounding his body in a green aura. The cake batter, still stuck to him, slowly began to scrape off, globules of it flowing towards a nearby trash can.
I've never spoken to real reporters before, especially ones for Canterlot.
Dizzy was speaking a mile a minute, flapping her wings to get airborne again.
This is so exciting, I'll bet you're going to be interviewing every pony in town.
Yeah, right after Prose finishes cleaning himself up, Twilight said with a giggle. It's not funny, Twilight, Spike responded, slightly unamused as he peeled more pattern from his hat. Ugh, never gonna get this gunk off.
Ooh, I can help with that,
Dizzy offered, before darting off in a blur of gray feathers. She was back in an instant, pushing a gray rain cloud ahead of her. The purple unicorn gasped as he realized what was coming. Before he could protest, the Pegasus dumped onto the cloud with all her might. The bottom of the cloud burst, nearly drowning Spike in the ensuing rain. The unicorn spat a mouthful of water, his coat and mane clinging to his body and drooping over his eyes. Thankfully, all of the cake had been cleaned off by the unprompted shower. Dizzy looked down with a big smile on her face, while Twilight rolled on the ground, body shaking with silent laughter. Thanks, Dizzy! Thanks a lot! Spike groaned, unable to find it in himself to admonish the mayor. Good thing my saddlebags are waterproof.
Happy to help,
Dizzy said as he pushed the spent rain cloud back into the sky. Spike's magic sparked around his hat, folding it aside to wring it out. As he focused on that, a pink hoof with a muffin on it suddenly popped into sight. He found himself face to face with the pink performer from earlier. A tray of muffins balanced on her back.
And 2 more positive muffins for Dizzy and the new pony.
The perfectly pink, smiling mayor.
Sorry, we're covering you both with cake.
It's okay, Spike managed to respond.
Thanks, Pinky.
Dizzy snatched up her own muffin and eagerly began chomping on it.
Oh, hey! You'll never guess what Mr. Prose is here for. Ooh, I love guessing games,
Pinky cheered before shaking the muffin tray on her back.
But I got so many muffins to pass out. Then I gotta get to that party for Applejack's family on the farm.
Spike almost choked on that bit of muffin he had taken as Pinky jumped to his side and slapped a hoof across his back.
Don't worry though, Prose.
The pink mare seemed unaware of her new friend's sudden coughing fit.
I'll make sure to put aside plenty of time at the big party tonight to get to know you. So you're involved in the celebration. Of course,
Dizzy said with a nod. With that, Pinky was off, passing out muffins to another group of cake-splattered ponies. Spike took a deep breath, his coughing finally dislodging the stray muffin bit. He watched the pink mare with a confused expression, wondering just who it was that almost literally killed him with kindness.
That's Pinkie Pie,
Dizzy spoke up, answering Spike's unspoken question.
She's really nice and loves meeting new ponies.
She always so excitable? Spike asked as he finally put his still damp hat back on. Dizzy giggled in response before finishing off her muffin.
Yep, but she's been extra happy with all the newcomers. I'm surprised she hasn't exploded or something.
Spike just rolled his eyes, taking another cautious bite of his own muffin. Twilight had finally managed to stop laughing, climbed onto his back, though she still had a broad grin on his face.
It was great meeting you, Dizzy, the dragon said, but Prose and I have a lot of ponies to interview.
Yeah, we'll start with whoever's in charge of the celebration, Spike chimed in.
Oh, that'd be me or Mayor, Dizzy answered, wings fluttering as he got back into the air. She'd probably be at Town Hall. I can tell you the way.
The rain cloud flashed through his head, so he told Spike that this pony's help might not be pleasant. No! He tried to insist, before pursing his lips and realized he shouted. I mean, you really don't...
It's no problem, really, Dizzy explained, the smile never leaving her face. I gotta make a few more pickups first.
The male mare looked down, then up and around. Her eyes crossed as confused colored her features.
As soon as I find my mail bag, she said. Excuse me.
The Pegasus rose higher into the air, Spike starting to slink backwards, only for a sharp claw to pinch his ear. The stallion bit his lip to avoid the pain. Where do you think you're going? Twilight chastised as he twisted her grip a bit. She wants to help. Twi, I know she's nice, but she also seems kind of. Ow! The purple unicorn cut himself off. Before rolling out his eyes, it stuck his tongue out to illustrate the point. You know, she's also a male mare. I'll bet she knows every pony in town, the dragon whispered, pinching a little harder. And don't be rude!
Found it!
Dizzy cheered from above as he floated back into view with a blue flag stuck across her chest.
I wonder how I got all the way on the station roof.
Sounds like a real mystery, Spike answered, as Twilight relinquished his ear. So, up to town hall?
You betcha! This way!
Dizzy cheered as he started toward the village beyond the platform. Spike began to follow, but stopped as he noticed Dizzy hovering in midair with a confused expression.
Oh, wait, no, this way,
she said, taking off in the opposite direction. The stallion sighed, his cheery mood from disembarking shriveling. This was starting to feel like it could be a long day.